Good afternoon. This meeting of the Preservation Board is now in order. I'm going to call a roll to establish who's here. Commissioner Fassman, are you here? I'm here. Commissioner Richardson, are you here? Here. Commissioner Johnson, are you here?
Here.
Commissioner Killeen, are you here? Present. Okay, did I miss anybody? Good enough. Commissioners, has anybody read the minutes of the November 23rd meeting?
Aye.
And a motion to make in that regard?
Approve those minutes.
Is there a second? There is no second. We will defer consideration of that. Commissioners, looking down at your agenda, we begin with a report. We have 5 listed items here. Agenda item A has withdrawn and will not be heard today. Looking at the order there, does anybody have any trouble with that order? Okay. If not, then that will be our order. And let's see.
I'm sorry, but on A, they withdrawn their application?
They withdrew from today's agenda.
Withdrew from what?
Okay, report.
From the agenda today.
Overview.
All right.
Is that you, sir? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Tom Pickle with the Sales Community Housing Corporation, and I had requested a few minutes from Betsy for one of your meetings to sort of report back on a couple of projects that you all approved going back, in one case, 2.5 years or so. And I recall a comment at that meeting that, well, you know, we've approved demolitions before for projects that wound up never happening. And I just wanted to come back to follow up, say we did do what we had proposed to do, and by way of saying thank you for your confidence in us. So in February 2014, I was here on behalf of the Sales Housing Corporation for 2 proposed demolitions, one here on the 2800 block of Magnolia, another on the 2800 block of Ohio, just a couple blocks away from this location. We had received an allocation of low-income housing tax credits from the Missouri Housing Development Commission to do projects. So this was a little house at 2842 Magnolia. We had requested demolition of. Our plan was to build 3 infill buildings here. We also had an option to acquire the lot off to the right of the parcel there at 2846 Magnolia. So we went ahead, and this was a streetscape shot of the same condition back in 2014. And then today we've constructed these 3 infill buildings at 2842, 46, and 48 Magnolia. You'll see the existing building there right to the right, still there, still vacant, but there is a plan for rehab of that building. So these are the 3 infill buildings we've constructed. They're now occupied, completed and occupied. Design we feel is a great fit for the streetscape there. Heine Program Architects is the architect, and here's a shot looking west on the south side of Magnolia there. And I mentioned in the same project, right across the street at 2829 Magnolia, we purchased this building. This is a city-owned building that had been vacant for over 20 years, and we've since re-upped that building. A picture was taken just this morning. That building should be completed in January. Then I mentioned over on the 2800 block of Ohio, there was a seriously dilapidated row of 5 attached townhouses at 28 to 34 Magnolia. And we had looked at rehabbing that, but the cost was just prohibitive. They were in such deteriorated condition. This was the south end of that row at 2834 Magnolia. And our plan there again was to demolish it and build 3 infill buildings. So these are the new buildings that are just completed now. People are starting to move in. And to see we position them so and design the roof lines to kind of recall the pre-existing buildings there. Here's again a front-on shot. And then here looking to the south, giving us some context for some of the existing buildings there. So we're very pleased with the way that turned out. Then back in July of 2013, I was here on behalf of the Garden District Commission, a group that we manage through DeSales Housing Corporation. This is 3867 Lafayette, right on the corner of Lafayette and 39th Street. This was a 12-unit building that at that point had been vacant for about 4 years. It had gone back to a bank in Dallas. We had negotiated a contract to buy the building from them, and really it was almost two separate buildings. The main building facing on Lafayette, this rear building facing on 39th Street. There were 12 units in all. The building had been a problem building for as long as anybody living in either Tiffany or Botanical Heights could remember. And as we looked at it, we thought really the problem was a matter of overcrowding and density, too many units on a small site. So we came to the board with a proposal to demolish this section facing on 39th Street and then come up with a plan to rehab the main portion of the building facing on Lafayette Avenue. And I'm happy to say this is what the building looks like today. It's been rehabbed by a developer, a partnership of Ken Nurnberger of ND Consulting and Wayne Poloni, who's been in the real estate business in the Shaw and surrounding neighborhoods for a long time. These are 6 market rate apartments just being leased up now, renting for, I think, from $850 to a little over $1,000 per month. This is the rear area where the one wing was, and what this did was free up the space to create some off-street parking, build a pretty sizable deck structure there, and I might mention back on this slide that there is still a 6-foot kind of faux wrought iron fence that's going to be put up there along 39th Street. But, it's been a huge improvement, and really I consider a remedy for this building for the long term. I think people that look at this building tomorrow or next year or 30 years from now are going to just figure this is always the way it was, and this building's going to be an asset for long term for these two neighborhoods. So, again, I just wanted to get a quick update and report and say thank you very much for your support of all of this.
That makes us feel good. Okay, agenda item B, 2861 left.
Okay, I'm Bob Bettis with staff, and I'll tell the truth. I have 2 quick new constructions for you. First up is a new preliminary application for new construction at 2861 Lent in Bend Park. This is the site in question. My voice is shot, I apologize. The new construction will be at the property line of going to sit right here at the street line, right here, not the one next door to it. Actually, the developer of this site owns this next door, and is going to be doing that one simultaneously with the construction. So here's the site in question, just north of Vessel Loop. Another shot, contact-wise, north to south, and looking to the other west. Here is a shot, 2K shot. They're basement log example, facing it on the house to the south. So thinking of the same details, wise. The windows will be matching the same height and scale as the model building as well. This site plan showing you is going to be sited up at the sidewalk line. As you notice, the one is set back further, so this elevation along here will have brick running back pretty far to limit that sideline to see any kind of siding. Here's the elevation of the front, and this is the parcel on the north side, which you barely see because it's pretty much right away from the neighboring property. And again, this is showing you that we're actually running back a good distance, with that sight line coming up left. Given that, going to the standards that complex everything we see in the standards, the developers that have worked with us to modify the design, great to work with. I talked to Tim Mulligan with Ben Park. They don't have any concerns about the proposal. They officially did, but they weren't really concerned with anything. Given that, I recommend that the board grant summary approval.
Questions, Commissioners?
So the first slide showing the elevations, I didn't know quite those windows lined up.
Well, yeah, we're going to work with that to make sure I asked for a change, I got that, time put it in the slide. So we're going to make sure everything lines up illustration-wise. This will all line up and be correct. I think we actually been doing great to work with. So if we have to change it, didn't make it quickly.
Will you review the brick selection?
Yeah, we're going to see, for example, when they apply for the permit. Okay.
Further questions? Okay, let's hear from the applicant.
And? Go ahead, Anna, you want to ask questions or anything, or?
Did you bring materials with you?
They don't have now. No, nothing else. Fair.
Okay, good enough. Can we give a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board approve this preliminary application with details to be worked out with staff.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations. Go build it. Bring your materials first.
Was that second, Mr. Johnson?
No, it was Alderman Kennedy.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Next up,
Next up, 4207 Blaine.
this is a application for construction over in North Act 44. This is the site in question. Already got a foundation going into place. Site plan here we're looking at. Here's Clement Lane. As the UIC projects, you've seen these before. You actually approved this design prior. Here's some more context where the front of the shop is there. To the east on Blaine, it's the same kind of construction we're going to play today. Several have been built on the block on the north side of the street. And this rendering of what is being proposed. Again, you've seen this design before. The construction has not been clear before for this parcel. We had to bring it to you for the site plan, showing it will align with neighboring property. Elevation, and you saw the rendering, the red brick of Master Street. That's elevation. Again, in the past we had approval for a bulk set of new construction. Unfortunately, we kind of ran out of those set approval, so we have this one today, and we'll likely see more in the future as a bulk set of clearance and reconstruction. Can we ask, recommend that the board approve application for construction as submitted?
Questions, Commissioners? Okay, let's hear from the applicant.
I'm Sarah Dixon. I'm the architect for the project as well as the developer for Botanical Heights Homes. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have tonight. We have built, as Bob mentioned, several of the same model in the development. We've had 17 new construction homes on the 4200 block of McCree. And in addition to this, we have 2 other lots on Blaine that would be able to accept this design, although we have inserted some other custom designs within that are new construction on the same block as well. But this design, it's working with the context. We've aligned the front facade with the adjacent building as well as aligning the elevation, the fenestration along the elevation with the existing context as well.
You align them?
Yes.
You like them?
Yeah, of course.
Commissioner, questions? Thank you.
I move that the Preservation Board approve the application for the construction as submitted.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go build it. This is going along really well. However, this board will now reconstitute itself as an administrative hearing board. A quorum is present and recorded on the record, and we'll hear an appeal of a staff denial. Agenda item B, 2711 to 13, Gravois.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Betsy Brown, Director of the Cultural Resources Office, and this is an appeal from the owner of this property, which is the St. Louis City Catholic Church Real Estate Corporation of the Archdiocese. Because it is an appeal, I'd like to submit into the record ordinances 64689 as modified by 64925, and ordinance 64832, as well as the one whose number I'm missing for the Oklahoma Historic District, the agenda, PowerPoint, correspondence that I have in case you don't get other copies from the I put up in the so we would have the record if you consider the agenda item. A little background, the current owners applied for a demolition permit for this building in November 2012. After we talked a little bit back and forth, that application was withdrawn, so I didn't have to deny it. And then we got a second application submitted in September of 2015. I denied it and asked to defer this item from the November agenda to December, so that's why they came. This is the property in question. It's a 3-story commercial block building, which has commercial on the ground story and residential areas above. It's a contributing building in the St. Francis de Sales Historic District and in the Classified Local Historic District. Here is a map that shows its location. That small block faces Gravois Avenue. Just across Lynch Street from the city landmark, St. Francis de Sales Church, referred to as the oratory. There's an aerial view with the red star on the building in question, with the church, and Gravois heading across there. It's one of those multiple intersections with many corner buildings, and the building in question is one of those and has strong relationships in the period of construction and design to several of the other buildings right there at that complex. Here's the west elevation of the building. Actually, the Canberra maps tell us that the rear part here was built by 1909, although it's hard to tell, except for the window pattern that this is an addition to the building. Here is the south elevation. It's the only building on this small block at this time because of the parking lot here. Here's the north side of the building facing Lynch. You see the main trouble with this building at this point is the condition of the cornice, and it is not been kept in good condition, has been damaged by water, starting to fail, and it's been falling off. The master roof has also suffered some lack of maintenance as well, but actually we don't see much evidence of trouble with the brick on this building. So the use of the cornice. This building received all of our favorite building materials, the simulated masonry on the storefront area. That is material that we've seen before can be removed and the storefront redeveloped into more historic pattern. Here's some context from Gravois. The same sort of building there, very similar to the one we're considering today, and smaller base beside it. Another car lot there on Gravois. Quite a mixed context, but the corners are still strong with these historic buildings. Building was the part of the Jefferson Gravois National Register District that was, next to it, this is in that district, and the block just to the east, which is added to that district, in the process of being added to that district. So all these properties are within historic districts, tax credits are available, and we hope to see a turnaround on Gravois with more of these buildings being occupied I think I have seen in the last 5 years some of those coming back into use as well, so like revival has started. And here's an important feature of the St. Francis Church, that white door, not the one in the foreground, a little bit further back, is exterior access to the handicap elevator. And so that angled parking there on the lunge is handicap parking. And the applicant thinking they need more handicap parking near that entrance to the church. So here's a look back on the Google Maps Street view to see sort of the condition of this building in the recent years. 2007, the image is not very high quality, but shows essentially the same condition here in 2009. So the damage to that cornice occurred David III in the recent years during the time of the Archdiocese of overall. So this property is located in the Oxford Park Local Historic District and in the St. Francis Historic District listed in the National Register, and it's also in the Preservation Review District, so it has every type of protection the city has to consider review of demolition. Records in GEO indicate that the property was donated to the Archdiocese about 2007, 2006, so they lived it several years. So when we go through the demolition review criteria, this commercial block was built during the 1880s and was added up by 1909. It's officially considered a contributing building in the National Register District, and therefore by definition is a merit building. And then looking at that document a little more closely in the buildings surrounding this area, this was one of the early buildings in the vicinity, and because of its early date and highly visible location, I think we need to consider it that meets the criteria for being a high merit building, which is one that's really important to historic districts. Condition of this building is sound. Obviously, there is some deferred maintenance, particularly at the cornice area, and that has occurred in the last few years. This building has been condemned in May of 2015, and I took a look at that condemnation, and the items chosen from the generic list of things that the building inspectors can choose from refers to a collapse of the east wall, which would be the one facing gravel ground, not in the view. And I looked at the photographs included with condemnation, and the only thing that I can find that is cracked or collapsing is the cornice. There was some reference to condition of the brick is being cracked, and of course we can see that water is moving through the brick with these darkened areas and work needs to be done. But there is no collapse of a major portion of the building, as one might think if you just look at the condemnation report. The damaged structure item was noted as a major violation, but I would also remind us all that condemnation is a signal to the property owner that something needs to be done. And the notice of condemnation indicates that the structure can be, quote, repaired or removed. So there is no requirement following condemnation. If we turn our attention to neighborhood effect and reuse potential, this neighborhood context of the building, part of its relationship to St. Francis Church, and the commercial buildings on Gravois, kind of from a pivot point there between the two, shows the context in which the church was built. Church could say commercial buildings. All the local buildings surrounding us are in two main historic districts. So the area that we have left in the city could really be highlighted as historic. Gravois, we know, is a heavily traveled thoroughfare. So as buildings have been vacant there, but are now more of them are being occupied, and certainly there is nothing that trend will not continue. Therefore, we get to reuse potential. Of course, this building could be used in its original use with a combination of commercial and residential use, or I think one of those for use for perhaps another use. The availability of state and or federal historic tax credits would bring some due to the figuring out of the cost for rehabbing this building. Of course, those would have to be used by a taxpaying entity and not available. The owner has provided an estimate for an estimated cost for work on the building. I received it last Thursday, so I had a chance to review it after I wrote my remarks on the long agenda. The estimate is described as one for completing the basic requirements for making the building functional and in compliance with building codes. But I also know that it includes many small items that are beyond that condition, such as towers and subdivisions. So I'm not exactly sure what that estimate is meant to convey. This also does not identify any proposed uses for the building. We have this estimate in the binder that we have in front of you now. And that estimate is $1 million. It doesn't take into account the use of historic tax credits, and by using the standard now, so 95% of the cost and 30% of those, it will be approximately $480,000 to be done in the project. Use of those tax credits. The applicant did compare the investment of this building to the current price list for similar buildings on gravel roads or blocks that it keeps. I would note that that building appears to be rehabilitated, so it's not a direct comparison. That building is listed as $150,000. Rehab building and the other rehab building compare particularly well. This building would require full gut rehab to be put back into use. I don't want to minimize that, and that project would be expensive. Nevertheless, I'm not sure that the projections that we have in front of us today take into account all the factors that they could, such as what would be the best use for the building, the use of the correct tax credits, what expected rents there might be, and comparable values for some similar nearby rehabilitated buildings. And the owner is not providing any information on attempts to sell the property. As far as urban design goes, lots of these buildings have a major effect on intersection, the complicated intersection, and be a loss of one of the sort of signature buildings at that intersection. Because of the small block, it would eliminate all buildings standing on that block, and so we would just have parking for an entire building block in front of St. Francis and the corner of our facility. This mixed-use building really holds that corner, both physically and visually, and its loss would have a significant impact on the urban side of the building. The Archdiocese proposed to construct a parking lot on the side of the building, with most of the spaces dedicated to the handicap parking near to the elevator into the church. The parking commonly controlled property is the use we need to consider. The parking lot at this location would certainly introduce a new condition of a block with the building department, and I'm not really sure it is exactly the condition the criteria was meant to address. Parcel is still assessed neighborhood commercial. I don't have a construction date, but I assume that going forward, because construction will take timely manner. Like you said, there's commonly controlled property involved here, and so it's not really contiguous. The parcel line is directly across the street from the church and comes close to the definition. We turn our attention to the Fox Park Historic District standards. The only ones that are different are the ones that I pointed to. They have a standard there that if a building would have to essentially be rebuilt, that may need to be approved for demolition. We have no information that this construction would be required. They also have a standard about securing vacant buildings and secured on the lower stories, no longer secure from the weather. So to summarize, I do find this to be a high merit building. There's a subjective categorization, but I don't use that category lightly or often, and I do think this is a high merit building. The building is one of the oldest in this vicinity. It has a prominent position in the landscape, so its loss would have a particularly highly visible effect on the historic district at that intersection. You need to consider the need for parking, as pointed out in the criteria. We're kind of close to meet the little definition there for property and parking. Obviously, the need for handicap parking, particularly lately. But ordinance 64689 also states the demolition of buildings in several categories shall not be approved except in unusual circumstances. Shall be expressly noted, and I have not had any of those circumstances brought to my attention that I can point to. So based on these preliminary findings, I would recommend that you withhold the denial of the demolition of this property if it is found unnecessary, and no unusual circumstances have been presented to warrant this demolition. I received one email from a member of the public who I don't believe is here, and it's very close to he emailed me apparently after seeing the preliminary agenda, and he writes to convey his opposition to the proposed demolition of this building. He's looked at it for years and wondered why it's going to take such a terror. So he is his opposition to the demolition noted, and then the other letters I have, I believe, from people that are here for me.
Commissioners, do you have questions about the materials inside?
My only question is, so what's the definition of sound under the ordinance?
Stand for another 6 months. In other words, the time it would take to plan and implement the rehabilitation project.
So this one can stand for another 6 months.
Of course, that call is always speculative, but I see no evidence that it's correct, such as major crime. We'll probably lose more than Hornets in the next 6 months. Just replace that anyway, given its condition. So I would say that it's
So you're saying the condemnation letter, notice of condemnation, the city talks about the west wall, as the crack, you didn't see any cracks.
no, that's
East.
the east wall is the one here with the simulated masonry on the ground story. And again, they don't have, they can't check Hornets deteriorating and falling off. They don't have that choice. So I've learned from looking at a number of these is that they have to select one of these generic choices that they have to the wall where they notice that there's a problem. And it's not very... And then in their comments, and I looked at the photographs, and they don't have any, their photographs don't show any conditions that you can see on.
That's all.
No,
So have we seen, is there an engineer's report at all that you have?
No, I'm implementing everything that you have in the binder from the estimate we have.
Mr. Richardson, the definition of sound means that, and I'm reading, means that visible portions of exterior walls and roofs appear capable of continuing to support their current loads for 6 months or more.
Okay, who's the appellant? Did you bring people with you?
I do. I have most likely just one witness.
Okay, you're welcome to arrange them any way that you want.
Okay. Well, it'll be...
Okay, we're building a record, so tell us your name.
Sure. My name is Brandon Rothkopf. I'm here on behalf of Archdiocese of St. Louis. I'm Associate General Counsel for the Archdiocese.
And your address?
20 Archbishop May Drive, 63119.
And is your testimony going to be the truth?
It shall. I have one witness besides myself, just to make clear. Okay. We obviously believe that this is a building that needs to be torn down. Citing the same, or incorporating the same ordinances used by Ms. Bradley, we believe the two most important criteria here today are the condition of the property and the economic hardship of rehabilitating the property. Significantly, nobody from the city has ever inspected the interior of the property, and that's where this story changes a great deal. If you look at the photographs included in your binders, you will see, and I have a contractor here that submitted the contracting report in your binders as well. will testify as to the structure and the condition of the property. That's a property that's falling in on itself from the inside out. And I would like to mention, this is a property that was donated to the Archdiocese in 2006, and it was already in the condition we received it. Once before, we sought to have it torn down. Ms. Bradley counseled at the time that we should withdraw that application, so we did. But we're here today because this property is now a health and safety hazard to the community, and it needs to be removed. A quick glance at those photographs will show you collapsing drywall, collapsing ceilings, holes on the floor on virtually every level. In the basement, there's approximately 2 feet of standing garbage that was there when we received the property. It's been an absolute nuisance from the moment we received it. Had I been counsel for the Archdiocese at the time it was donated to us, I would have politely suggested that we pass. Unfortunately, I wasn't there at that time. If you look at the condemnation report, you will note that the condemnation report suggests that the property is structurally dangerous, so damaged that it is no longer safe or suitable for its intended purpose. It goes on to state that it endangers the health and/or lives and/or safety and welfare of persons and property. We believe the neighborhood would be positively affected by the removal of this property, most significantly by removing what's becoming an eyesore and what has already been noted by the city as a health and safety hazard. Again, if you look at those comparable properties that Ms. Bradley talked about, I think this is very significant. She admitted that the one that's right next to that property, just on the other side of St. Francis de Sales Church, is a rehab property and it's being listed for sale for only $150,000. Our repair estimate is 1.2 or almost $1.2 million, and that's the beer budget. That's not the champagne budget. That is what is minimally necessary to bring this building back to an operational status. And if we want to take out the soap holders and towel bars, I don't think that gets us south of $1 million on the rehab. So this is a property, it's a danger. It needs to be removed. Regardless of what the subsequent use is, it needs to come down. Now, it just so happens that St. Francis de Sales is a unique church within the Archdiocese. It's the only church within the Archdiocese that offers a traditional Latin liturgy, which means that it has a regional draw as opposed to a more local draw like most of our parishes would. People come from Illinois, they come from all over our 11 counties in the Archdiocese, and sometimes even further to attend Mass there. There is a pressing need for additional handicap parking, and that is why we have proposed to put that handicap parking right there on that property, which is directly across from our handicap elevator. To suggest that somehow you're going to ever get the investment that it would take to rehab this property back out of it, it's a pipe dream. There's been no offers to buy the property because nobody wants it. It was given to us for free. If it had been sellable, it would have been sold. So with that, I will have Mr. Ron Hamp from Icon Contracting come up and give you his professional judgment about the structure of the building. Thank you.
Question. Sure.
Is the building for sale now? Could someone buy it from you all?
They could. I mean, they face the same hurdles that we do, tax credits or no tax credits. It's an uphill climb to get anything out of that building. We've had nobody approach us for it. And I added another comp in our binders from the old school building at St. Pius V. The school building at St. Pius V is also one of your comps in there. That's a property that's been for sale for over a year now, and they've had to slash the price of that building to $500,000, and we continue to get no calls on it. It's tough to move these things. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. That's the economic reality here.
Has the Archdiocese ever actually listed this for sale?
I don't believe so, no.
So if someone wanted to buy it, they had to come seek it out?
Yes.
Do you know what you would ask for it?
I don't know what, I mean, there's a lot of variables that would go into that, including the outcome of this appeal process, so.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Hamp with Icon Contracting. My address is 3122 Sutton Boulevard, Pocahontas.
You want to get to the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And that holds till midnight.
Okay, good. So I do a lot of major renovation. I've been in business for about 20 years, and I've done a lot of city renovation in the Loop area and in the inner city and on Gravois. Here's a couple notes that I picked out on this thing real quick. Structural issues. The water's not getting in, penetrating through the building. It's actually in the back half, go 3 windows back from the back side of it with all the plumbing chases, the bathrooms, the kitchens. All those joists were cut and put piping through there, so structurally they collapsed. So in the back half, the roof, not the roof line, but the first, second, I think it would be the third floor, is completely deteriorated and fell down. So there's no lateral structural support on those exterior walls. One thing I would say was holding that exterior walls up is that back metal rail, stairs on the back. There's nothing else in the center tying that together at all. So as a contractor, we would have to completely shore up that entire exterior wall around the whole interior perimeter, remove everything from the inside completely out, and restructurally support that. New ties into the brick and everything else. So right now, that back of that building, major windstorm, anything like that, it's collapsing. Very, very dangerous. I wouldn't even let the Archdiocese walk back there when I was back in that thing. So that's the big issue. The outside looks great. Inside's in really, really bad shape, especially that back half. And it's not because of the deterioration of the water through the roof. It was the way it was construction, and there were joists the way they were cut out. So you literally could stand up on the 3rd floor and all the way down into the basement. That back half. The other issue is ADA compliant. You know, I know that to get access to the 2nd and 3rd floor, you have a small, narrow staircase coming to the side entrance. It's less than 30 inches wide, and it's like climbing up the hillside. It's very, very steep. So trying to get access up to the 2nd and 3rd floor to make it markable, it's going to be very tough. And then you have to put an elevator in there, which I don't think I figured. One other issue I want to address was historic tax credits. I did not figure historic tax credits on this, and by doing that, I would have to upgrade the windows. All the wood trim inside would have to match what was presently there before. So the number that I gave you does not include it. So you probably going to add 15 to 20% to that to recover the requirement that the federal tax credits are doing. And I've done a lot of that also. It's a big job. It's a very big job, and it, you know, the brick looks good on the outside, but that's about the extent of it. Questions?
How many?
How many square feet building?
It's on my report, I think, square footage of it is.
On your report.
I may estimate. I don't know if I did it right out, a square footage cost for that or not.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
Chairman. That's not a question.
I think that's all.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other evidence you wish to introduce? Alderwoman Ingracia?
Good evening, Christine Ingracia, 6-1 Alderwoman.
Address where we can find you again, what you need, City Hall?
1200 Market Street, room 230.
Perfect. And is your testimony going to be the truth?
It is. Do I need to read my letter into the record? I don't know if you guys have copies of it, or...
You must probably will take it into the record if you'd like to paraphrase it, or, as people annoyingly do, read it to us.
I didn't want to do that, but I wanted to make sure that was okay. I guess first off, I just wanted to state that the fact that the Sales Oratory needs additional handicap parking is news to me. I've been in negotiations with Marty Abusey, who was a representative of the Archdiocese for the past 2.5 years. It was only told to me that they needed additional parking for their congregation. I'm wondering when that parking is needed, only because I live in that neighborhood and live in the neighborhood over and drive past that area when they do have services, and I've never seen that area look like it needs parking. I have had a number of folks who live and work in that area willing to work with the Archdiocese on trying to find additional parking if their members don't feel comfortable walking in the city for services. And I also like to say that if the Archdiocese is not a fan of being donated this gift, that the city would probably be willing to take it back as a donation. I've also had any number of developers over the 2.5 years that I've been elected reach out to me. We've been unsuccessful with trying to get the Archdiocese interested in negotiating a sale. My correspondence to you today has 2 letters attached from folks who are interested in developing the property. And with all due respect to the folks who are here in support of the Archdiocese today, I've never worked with a developer who is very concerned with the internal portions of the structure. It's the outside portions of the building that are most concerned to developers. And it's my understanding that the cornice is damaged because the copper gutters and downspouts were taken, and not because of deterioration. And I'm happy to take any questions if you have them.
Questions for the Alderwoman, starting on this end?
They're angled parking all along the church where the handicap, is that where they park now, the handicap?
That's accurate. Yeah, we've discussed a number of other options with them to allow additional parking during services in that area and not allow through traffic.
So if this were made available to the city, you feel it would be developed?
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I have 3 people who have signed up to speak. Just out of my curiosity, are there more than 3? Who all would like to speak on this issue? 1. Only 1 would like to speak. I've got 3 signatures. Speak my mind. I may make you speak. Are you Chris? Yes, I am. And you changed your mind? Oh, hard. I choose not to speak. Okay. Jenny. Brave Jenny. Good.
Hi, I'm Jenny Nolan. I'm president of the Fox Park Neighborhood Association.
Where can we find you again?
2846 Russell Boulevard, 63104.
Is your testimony going to be the truth?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Tell midnight.
Okay. I am here along with my neighbors and board members, Beth Selmock and Chris Barton. I'm going to read the letter from the Fox.
Chris is the quiet one?
Yes.
Okay.
For the record, our letter from the Neighborhood Association to the Cultural Resources Office. I am writing this letter on behalf of the Fox Park Neighborhood Association, FPNA, with regard to the historical standards in the Fox Park neighborhood. Fox Park Neighborhood Association is a nonprofit community organization that works to improve the quality of life in the surrounding community through neighborhood improvement and beautification, and to promote Fox Park as a desirable neighborhood and place to live. As such, the Fox Park Neighborhood Association supports the set historical standards for our neighborhood. Our neighborhood association will never support the demolition of 2711-13 Gravois, a sound brick structure located in the St. Francis de Sales National Register District and the Fox Park Local Historical District. We strongly recommend that the Archdiocese of the STL City Catholic Church Real Estate Corp. Either sells or renovates the building. Sincerely, Jenny Nolan, President, Fox Park Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Questions, Commissioners? Did you write that letter?
Yes, I did.
You read it like you wrote it. Great.
Thank you.
Bob Kalish?
Bob is here, he's with us.
You want to speak? Is there anything else you'd like to add to the record, sir?
Well, let me,
Bob Polish. You can find me at 20 Archbishop May Drive.
Your testimony is going to be?
It will be true, till midnight. I'd like to refute anybody that says this building is sound. It needs tuck pointing on the outside. I don't know if anybody went to the west side of the building, but it's in terrible shape from a tuck pointing standpoint. A lot of the windows are out. There's been a lot of water infiltration, as Mr. Hamp has indicated. And I don't think the photos do the building justice. I think there's more injustice if you actually get inside the building to see what's actually in there. This was my first time in it just a few weeks ago, and it's in terrible shape inside, terrible shape. There's so much trash in the basement, you can't even walk around. And as Mr. Hamp said, he wouldn't let us go to the back part of the building because he was afraid it might collapse.
Bob?
Yeah.
What's your position with the Archdiocese?
I'm basically a project manager, building projects with the Archdiocese. So I do renovations, construction, demolition projects.
Now, if what was testified, look over at your lawyer if I ask the question,
If I need to.
isn't whether the building is sound, but sound under the definition of the ordinance, would your testimony still be the same? And look at it.
Would it stand for 6 months? That's anybody's call. I would say, I don't know, the city condemned it. We have a letter of condemnation. I thought that when they condemn a building, they condemn a building, but apparently that means that they think it will stand for 6 months. So, I don't know.
Questions, Commissioner? Your friend?
So what would be the project, specifically, what would replace this building?
My understanding is a parking lot.
So as the project manager, would you be in charge of that then?
Probably, yes.
And so when would that parking lot, and how many spaces is it?
I don't know that there are any plans yet, so I really couldn't say how long it would take to do plans or to get pricing and start construction.
So what's the urgency or what's the need to have the demolition permit now?
Well, we'd like to be able to proceed with our plans, and the demolition permit obviously is the first step.
So if we approve this tonight, then your next step would be demolishing, and how soon after that would this be redeveloped with a parking lot?
If I may, immediately. I mean, we're going to seek a building permit for the parking lot immediately. We're not going to wait around.
Sorry, I have one. So since the Archdiocese acquired the property in 06 or 07, have you spent any money on the upkeep of it?
I couldn't answer that because I don't know. Not sure.
Again, I don't mean to keep jumping in, but it's my understanding we have spent some money to keep it secured and to correct some immediately pressing issues when there's been instances where stuff has been literally falling off the building. So we have, I don't know what the exact numbers, but there have been instances where we've had to go in there and just basically shore it up for what it is. But our intention all this time has been to ultimately tear it down.
So in 2006, your intention was to...
Well, I wasn't with the Archdiocese in 2006. I know since at least 2012, and when it was donated, that was what they had in mind. So starting in 2012, we've been actively seeking to have it torn down.
Thank you.
Good enough. This concludes the testimony portion of this hearing. Mr. Kraft, you got a motion down there?
Yes, I recommend that the Preservation Board uphold the director's denial of the demolition as is a sound building and accept the put on the market for someone else.
Okay, I stopped listening after high merit building.
Okay.
Second. And second amendment. Discussion? Melanie? Do you want to say about it?
No, I think that it really can be. I mean, I live in the Central West End, and we've had several properties that have, had major renovation, and it's just unbelievable how wonderful they are.
We've seen much worse come through this board, and got the alderwoman saying there are two developers ready to fix this place up. I think it can only help the church to have a beautiful building across the street. Enough parking over there.
Homer?
Yes, a couple things. So I think the attorney for the Archdiocese testified that the the two most important criteria for them were, for they thought, for the ordinance was condition and hardship. But our ordinance actually lists the criteria in importance, or how we're supposed to weigh those. And so the first is redevelopment plan, which isn't applicable. And again, if they were really wanted to redevelop it, they could go get a redevelopment plan. They could approach the Alderman for that. So, and then the second most is architectural quality, which again we have our director saying is a high merit, which as she alluded to says that we shall not approve the demolition of merit or qualifying structures except in unusual circumstances, which shall be expressly noted. We don't really have that here. I think the RCIC did a cursory review of the ordinance, and their summary I don't think really applies all the criteria. We have the condition issue of a sound structure, and we read the definition of sound. And again, the burden's on the applicant here to show that it's not sound. And we had testimony from our diocese staff that says anyone's guess is as good as the other. So again, we haven't really met that. And then I find it interesting that we have Tom Pickle here showing us neighborhood reuse potential in the Fox Park neighborhood. So I think there is the ability to redevelop this. So I think that doesn't really apply. Proposed subsequent construction, we're talking about the parking lot. And commonly controlled property, again, the criteria there is really about reuse for expansion. We're not really talking about expansion here. It's really focused on commercial industrial use, not a religious use. And as the Alderwoman testified, again, I don't think parking is really a problem for this special parish.
Second. Okay, Commissioners, there's a motion that's been made and seconded. There is no further discussion, and we'll take the roll. Alderman Kennedy, do you vote yes or no? Yes. Commissioner Johnson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Fastman, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
That is 5 yeses, the motion carries, the director's denial is upheld. Okay, Commissioners, we made a special administrative hearing, and we'll hear 2601 Ohio.
That is the staff, I will tell the truth. Need to enter ordinance is 66098, 64689, my PowerPoint and my presentation. We have is an application to obtain 2 non-compliant features items in the Fox Park Local Historic District. We're still one Ohio, which is Madam White. Quick background. We got a phone call about obtaining a brick without a permit. So I went out, met with the priest Stackman, who works for McFadden, and explained what's going on. This is a stop work, and explained they can't paint the brick. They were moving to work right away. Understand the issue. I was with Jan looking at the building. What had happened was they had power washed the brick and blew the fake brick off. And they damaged the brick all for it. So they've agreed to paint the building red to match the brick color. They really can't remove it now since the brick is not with porous. They really can't strip the brick off, strip the paint off. So that was the first issue. The second issue was that we were out there doing the painting. We noticed that they replaced the windows on the storefront Ohio side as well. And unfortunately, there was no permit for that work. So I'll kind of show you some background to show you where we're at with that. So this is the site in question. As you can see, we stopped them kind of like right about there. They're doing some spray painting. Here's the location. Just north of the church. This was metallic head of the brick itself, but trust me, when we went out, the brick is now porous and big with the base on. This is the current detail of the windows itself. The new windows installed below, they're marble. They're a good window over there, but they would not replicate what was there originally. This is what was there before they started doing the work. Now this work was probably done in the 70s, maybe even late 60s, we're not sure. Either way, it would have been a large industrial stash originally. So the cost to install industrial stash is prohibitive to do so. But we feel that with some modification on this, installing an extra transom system in here, that although not compliant, we feel is acceptable and it's been warranted of a special standard. So again, just to sum up, we're going to paint the brick red, but that needs, again, exception to standards because we can't paint in masonry. And we're okay with that. And also they will finish out the opening with a larger transom bar and a fixed transom system to give it a more commercial look. Again, although not compliant, we are okay with it and requesting return back to denial of the application.
Unusual.
I would move that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial per revised window plans because paint cannot be removed from the damaged.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call a roll. Commissioner Fassman, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
That's 5 yeses. The director's denial is overturned. Commissioners, I see no other business on our agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Staff, anything to add?
Do the next minute?
Yes.
Maybe some of them. We'll find the motion.
Okay. Has any commissioner who arrived since the last time I asked read the minutes? Yes. And willing to second a motion to approve the minutes? Still not. Okay.
It's a riveting reading.
Commissioner, I hear a motion to adjourn. Second, good, yes. Any objection? No. Adjourned. Thank you.